Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, today's a very big day for a pair of reasons. One, we have our Mai Shiranui gameplay trailer, finally, thank God. And two, it confirms a lot of my speculations about the character, and turns out I pretty much called almost everything here. So not gonna lie, that's actually pretty gratifying. So as you would expect, we're going to be covering everything in this trailer in great detail. But there is a few things I would like to note before we just get directly into it, in that Mai is a little bit different than everybody else. In that, as you see later in this trailer, she has a stock mechanic. She can build basically a flame buff. And while she has the flame buff, well, everything gets a lot better. So when we get to it, we'll get to it. We don't have too many details just yet, but it's certainly going to be a very big deal on top of all the classic Mai stuff in the trailer. So that said, let's rewind just a little bit here and let's dig into the trailer. So first big bit of business, hey, her second outfit is indeed her new biker look in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. And for the people that it confuses if you don't know the character, this is very on brand for Mai. 1. Southtown is very much a biker town. 2. Mai is a metalhead. You can flip back in the history book a lot of pages and it's all been there since the start. So on top of looking sick, it actually is very fitting. Although don't worry, classic Mai is still very much here as well. And of course we have the intro versus Chun-Li, who is her Capcom rival. And there's an interesting little piece of business here in that, well, it seems they gave him a special intro. Now, I don't know if that's actually the case or if it's just for the trailer, as it leaves them much further than the normal round start position. So I don't know if rival intros are actually going to be a thing or if it's just purely for the trailer. So to start off the trailer, hey, we got some normals. So first off here, this might be Stand Heavy Punch. Very reminiscent of her close heavy punch in classic King of Fighters games. And Street Fighter doesn't do proximity normals anymore. Next up likely is Stand Heavy Kick. Lots of startup, but good range. Also, you can see here, whiff punishes and gets a punish counter knockdown, so guaranteed combo. Mai is known for a lot of very big things, and among those is big buttons. And this looks like one of those. She maintains her classic cheeky sweep, so her status for good boys and girls is still very much in question. Next up though, we're getting a little different. So big jump in, jump heavy kick, and then we got a bit of a target combo. So the initial hit, it could be crouch heavy punch, it could be a command normal, I'm not sure, but it's definitely a target combo at the end with a big knockdown attached to it. All right, so that is admittedly pretty different. But don't worry, back to the comfort zone. She very much has her classic forward throw. Throw loops, well, we'll wait and see. And a bit of a pose down too. Mai is very much person to kind of antagonize people, so on brand. Next up, we got a hit confirm right out of King of Fighters. I mean, like actually, like almost 1-to-1, right? So this is the Hisatsu Shinobi Bachi, aka the Deadly Ninja Bees. Lots of Mai's attacks are named after animals. This named after a bee because the elbow is the stinger. At least I've always assumed that anyways. So traditionally, this is kind of like your base hit confirm fodder. If you're not going for anything fancier, and there's a lot fancier in this trailer, trust me. But normally, if you're just going for the basics, this is what you do. Good little hit, has a good amount of corner carry, just kind of everything a combo ender needs to be. Workhorse of a move. Now, here's where we start getting crazy. So I speculated for a long time, are they going to be scared to make Mai strong? Would they give her the fan bounce that she had in later King of Fighters titles? And the answer turns out is yes, they actually did. And that's kind of crazy, but there's a price to be paid. So first off, the fans that bounce, it is the regular motion and she is a motion character, no charge. She doesn't have wall dive, at least it's not in the trailer. And Kagero no Mai is a super, not a special, so no charge moves. So for fan toss, if you hold the button, you get a slower version, and the slower version will bounce and then come back down on the opponent's head. Now, there's obviously a lot of pressure here, not the least of which is, while it's coming down on your head, it's mix-up time, and you can't just parry bait it. You can be thrown before it connects. So if you try to parry, boom, take punish, counter, throw, eat 20%. And we'll see it later in the trailer. And yes, she does have an overhead. So high, low, throw, that's the mix. Doesn't even take a bar, but there is a price to be paid for this very strong strength. The regular Phantos, regular Kachosen, is a weak projectile. The regular non-held version will lose to other fireballs, and people can attack it to make the projectile disappear. Like say, Ibuki's daggers. You can just punch them out of the air. So very, very strong, the held version, especially because as soon as you get hit or block, the bounce up happens either way. You're in Mixed City, basically. But the base projectile without the buff, which we'll show later, is a bit weaker, but still incredibly powerful mechanic overall. Now, on to more new stuff here. This is new for Street Fighter. We got a new target combo, one that launches her straight up into the air. And then she does her Musasabi no Mai, her Condor dive, if you will. And there is something to note about that. So I speculated that the Musasabi no Mai would have to work differently in this game, and turns out it does. Normally you could like do stuff like jump backwards and do it, be plus on block, all that kind, like you can't do that here. So Musasabi no Mai, the Condor dive, only works from this target combo or a forward jump. You can't do it while jumping backwards because Street Fighter's not King of Fighters. That level of power is not okay in Street Fighter. Sucks, but I called that change months and months ago, so now you know. The classic Ryuenbu, the dragon tail, is still very much in the game. Very long range, as you can see. There's some combo ability stuff which we'll also get into later in the trailer. Traditionally, this move is used often as a poke, just like you can use it raw and neutral, or as an ender for heavier button combos. In KOF games, it can also destroy projectiles, although that remains to be seen here. We don't know yet. Now, more classic Mai stuff. We got the air throw. Mai is a master of air throws. Certainly no grappler in like a traditional sense, but she will always snatch you out air to air. You cannot beat her air to air. And you can see here also, setting it up, going for that scary slow fan toss, the one with the bounce, right? You don't even want to block it, because if you block it, the fan bounce happens. So you're incentivized to not be there. Jumping is much better than just blocking the move, right? And if you jump, well then, haha, dummy, get dunked on. Next up here, quick normal, but what looks to be maybe stand medium kick, seems to have some monster range on it. And one of the big main events for me here, I know this is simple in Street Fighter terms, but the Ryuengin, the Dragon Blast, this is her reversal. Mai very rarely, Mai is in a million games, Mai very rarely has anything with defensive properties. Usually it's like good normals, good offense, bad defense, right? So her having a proper defensive move, even if it's just air and Vuln, and the EX version actually isn't frame 1 Vuln and anything else, whatever, that's a huge win for Mai. She traditionally does not have much in the way of defensive options. And now let's get crazy. So big jump in, normal, into our level 1, the Kagero no Mai. Depending on the game, sometimes it's a special, sometimes it's a super. This game, it's a super, but it's more than just, you know, the normal level 1 invincible super. Notice how her fan toss is on fire now, and that there is hell of flames all over the screen now. This is all thanks to that level 1. And by the way, here's her level 2. Cho Hisatsu Shinobi Bachi, aka the Super Deadly Ninja Bees. So we don't have tons of details right now, but here's what we do know. Her level 1, and specifically only her level 1 as far as I know, gives her flame stocks. And basically it gives her 5 stocks, and I guess the next 5 moves, be them regular moves or level 1 or level 2 supers, as both of them are buffed as well, get buffed by the flame stocks. And this changes how things work. Like Kachosen or Fan Toss, the regular version, this is not EX, the regular version with the flame buff crushes regular projectiles. Makes me think Guile is not going to like this match at all. So while you got flame buff up, like you dominate the projectile match. After this, Mai goes for Drive Rush overhead, then the fan hits, Crouch Medium or Heavy Punch into EX Ryuenbu, which is a launcher, and then goes into the level 2, which is also buffed thanks to the fire buff. The buff seems like a really big deal, so therefore it looks like Mai will be spending a lot of that meter on level 1s to keep getting the buffs. Okay, so now we have established fire buff, very scary. So now we enter the second part of the trailer where we just start abusing it. This is the power of Shiranui fire, basically, because we're going to get nuts with it. Also, hey, it's Costume 2 again, yay! So first, this sequence. I gotta start filming myself for like reactions or whatever. I know I don't do reaction stuff, but like I actually jumped out of my chair when I saw this. So what's happening here? Well, a lot of nonsense, really. So first off, normal into EX fan toss. Multi-hitting has fire buff. Ryu crouch blocks, gets hit by the overhead into the fan. Mai links into EX held fan toss, which tosses multiple fans and they both bounce. Ryu gets sniped low this time into buffed Ryuenbu, which launches into the Ryuengin, the Dragon Blast. Like, a lot happens here. Like, Mai is going to be big into these set play sequences, especially with the buff live, right? Because look at the trash that's on screen. You are going to have to block for your life because you're one mix away from the Shiranui can opener just ripping you open. So with the buff, maybe without the buff as well, but with the buff, EX fan toss gives a bounce, and the held fan toss gives 2 bounces. So yeah, that just means there's a lot of hold and block and a lot of you having to guess. If you got a reversal, maybe now is the time to mash it. But even then, Mai will have time to recover beforehand, so it's going to be rough to deal with. And as we saw earlier, Mai has the option to dash forward to push you out of range of the fans, and then if you try to parry, you're going to get chucked, lose 20%. This stuff is scary! Another crazy demonstration of the power of the flame buff. So Ryu with Denjin loses to Mai in this fireball war. Denjin is meant to be like the ultimate I win this interaction, but no, not against Mai. And this is EX Denjin Fireball, by the way. So what's Mai doing? She has the flame buff up here. EX held fan toss shoots 2 fans, and then she can double enhance to toss 2 more fans. This is actually very reminiscent of her older game Supers, where she can toss multiple flaming fans. So we're very much getting that in Street Fighter 6. And note here too, after the next pair of enhanced fans come up here, she goes for flame buff Ninja Bees, which will connect against Ryu here in the air, bounce him into the bouncing fan, which gives her enough time to juggle, and then she goes into Kagero no Mai. And now this one looks a bit different, right? Because this is the flame buff version of Kagero no Mai. The level 1 and 2 supers also get the flame buffs as well. So this one has a bunch of like ninja clones coming out. So you see this, I believe, like EX Mai and KOF, and also in the Real Bout series, you'll see like the clones coming up. So this is another nice little callback, and obviously having 3 Mai set you on fire instead of 1 lets you know this move is definitely buffed up. Question is, does this also give you stocks on top of that? Does it let you build the resource as you burn it? Next up, perfect parry into what was maybe crouch heavy punch, I don't know, into crouch medium or heavy punch, I don't know. We don't know yet. It all combos, and then buffed Ryuenbu goes into EX Dragon Blast for a very fancy looking combo. Next up, another example here, flame buff version of Projectile just destroys other projectiles, air to air, and again, you can't meet Mai air to air because she's really silly like that. So after the jump, I'm assuming medium punch canceled into Musasabi no Mai, the flame buff version bounces back into the fireball, EX Ninja Bees, flame buff version launches upwards, another medium punch into another EX dive, and then that's canceled into her level 2. Her level 2 is also air okay, by the way. Mai is capable of just absolutely incredible air-to-air shenanigans, basically. And then big drive impact combo here. Heavy punch, drive rush canceled, heavy kick, crouch medium punch or heavy punch, not sure yet, into EX Ryuenbu, which launches, into Ninja Bees, into level 3.
Floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee.
Now, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, I think you know where that comes from. I think you think that comes from Muhammad Ali. And don't worry, I'm here to guide you correctly from your misguided, childish understanding of this. Because it's actually a Shiranui saying. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Ali learned that from the Shiranui. That's right, Muhammad Ali fights using Shiranui style martial arts. And he learned it from the Shiranui clan. If you didn't know, now you know. So yeah, hell of a trailer. I'm very, very impressed. Mai, of all the DLC characters of Season 2, was the one I was looking forward to the most and by a lot, and I'm very happy with what I'm seeing here. The stuff I dared to dream could be in the game, like bouncing fans, they actually did it. I didn't believe they would, and they did it. I guess she doesn't have wall dive, but then again, they don't want to make her a charge character, and that's always been a charge move, so whatever. And there's no jump back dive, Musasabi no Mai, well, that's fine, it's Street Fighter, it was never gonna be allowed anyways. Especially that they made her zoning toolkit like turbo strong in this rendition of the character. And they went and gave her a nice little Street Fighter flavor too, right? So, has target combos, has this whole flame buff system which makes everything really ridiculous. That's certainly out of the normal purview of like Fatal Fury and King of Fighters, she doesn't do that there. So basically they did it. They both made her faithful to the source material and also still made her feel very special within the context of the game as well. Just like Terry, they successfully transferred over a character. Now the question is, traditionally Terry's actually always been on the weaker side in like KOF, but Mai's always been decent to strong. So I guess we'll see if that makes her a terror automatically in Street Fighter, or they'll figure it out and the balance will work. All I can really say after seeing all this, 2 big thumbs up from me. Although, speaking of 2 big things, Capcom, don't think I don't see you taking my jokes. I need this, I don't got much else. But yeah, just very excited. Mai looks amazing. And all I can really say is look forward to more coverage of Mai as more is to be found. And when she eventually launches, we don't have a release date yet, but when she eventually launches, combos, guides, all that kind of stuff, I 100% have you guys' backs on that. Look forward to it because I know I definitely am. And that all said, hey, that is the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Street Fighter.